Back when roads used to be as calm as ever, specifically in the 60s and 70s, it was the era of muscle cars and beautiful land yachts that are some of the finest works of automotive craftsmanship. We're about to take you through a list of the top 10 American land yachts of the 1970s. Hit that like and subscribe, and let's begin. 10. 1972. Lincoln Continental. We have got to say that this one right here is very easily one of the biggest representations of land yachts. The Lincoln Continental was not only huge in the 70s, but even now considered one of the best of the best. Aiming to cater to a broad audience, including families, they came up with this insanely cool luxury two-door car that doesn't even require a chauffeur. They totally went all out by collaborating with designers like Bill Blass, Gucci, Givenchy, and Cartier. What made these additions so interesting was the range of distinctive color schemes and gold plaques on the instrument panels, which gave it an incredibly luxurious touch. What's even cooler? You get to personalize your name on it. Coming to its engine, the 1972 Lincoln Continental boasted a powerful 7.5-liter 460 V8 engine, delivering 224 horsepower and 485 Newton-meters of torque. That means this vehicle could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 12 seconds. 9. 1970 Buick Collector 225 Sport Coupe. Guess what the 225 inches in the Buick Electra's name is? That number shows how long the vehicle is, in inches. Whichever variant of the land yacht it is, it's always around 225 inches long. There has been so much detail put into this vehicle, and between 1959 and 1969, the size of the Electra did differ a little. It was all in 1970 when Buick emphasized its humongous size by including it in the model's name. Along with its large size, under the hood, you would find a 7.5-liter 455 V8 engine, producing an impressive 370 horsepower and 691 Newton-meters of torque. Now, this big boy may have been a little too heavy to compete with the top muscle cars of the 1970s, but it had its advantages, and the Electra 225 could still go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.5 seconds. For a car that big to be able to pull it off, it truly is something. 8. 1975 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. First making its appearance in 1949, the Cadillac Coupe de Ville features one of the sleekest bodies you'll find on a land yacht. It also boasts an impressive length of 5.46 meters to grow only larger 30 years later. When we talk specifically of the 1975 model, we must add that it was one of the biggest cars of its time. But it wasn't just its length that made this car special. This generation was known quite well for its very distinctive features. Some of them include huge rectangular headlights that also have side marker lights. And of course, let's not forget to mention the grand interior with luxurious leather or velour upholstery and vinyl-covered roofs. Safety isn't really a huge concern here, thanks to features like driver and passenger airbags, along with an anti-skid system. Coming to one of the most important aspects, the engine was a 500 cubic inch V8 engine that delivered 190 horsepower and a very impressive 488 Newton-meters of torque. If you're blown away by the figures of DeVille, just wait till you see what's coming at number 1. 7. 1970 Imperial Crown. Being fair competition to Ford's Lincoln and Cadillac, the Crown sure did cut the list of the best land yachts. Both Crown sedan and coupe were similarly long and measured up to 5 meters and 83 centimeters. And boy, weren't they some of the best-looking vehicles to ever set foot in the industry. One very unique fact about the luxurious 1970 Imperial Crown is that it weighed well over 2 tons, and we're talking without passengers. Which brings us to one of its downsides. This car did have a bit of a struggle in the speed aspect of the vehicle. Even 60 miles per hour in 9 seconds was a task quite difficult for it to accomplish. It didn't help that it was powered by the robust 440 V8 engine, which would supposedly provide 350 horsepower. But then again, for those more focused on luxury and less on acceleration, this car was the way to go. 6. 1978 Ford Country Squire. Meet the 1978 Ford Country Squire, which features faux wood paneling on the body's sides, giving it an extremely elite look. Though there may have been a couple of variants of this version, it was this very one that was most recognized. It was after this that the 7th generation made an appearance in 1979. It is the same car, just with much larger dimensions. It was huge. It weighed around 2,200 kilos, and you know what that means. This car isn't going to run on some average engine. It boasted a 460 V8 that produced 202 horsepower. Surprisingly, even then, the engine could only manage to reach a speed of 110 miles per hour in just over 13 seconds. 5. 1974 Oldsmobile 98 Regency Coupe. This beauty right here is a monster. It's ancient, it's huge, and it's built on the GMC body platform Oldsmobile, which sadly put an end to production in 2004. However, these models were quite a big deal back in the 70s, especially the Oldsmobile 98 Regency Coupe. Under the hood, you'll find a rocket V8 engine with a displacement of 455 cubic inches. With its 210 horsepower, it could easily flex impressive Newton meters, specifically around 475 of them. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just about 12 seconds. 4. 1979 Lincoln Continental. Let's just say that in comparison to the earlier models in the series, this car was built to be the longest. Let's thank the very noticeable 20 centimeters that were added to this variant of the car. This car exudes luxury and has an unmatched elegance to its appearance. The vinyl roof covering was back then a very fancy addition to the vehicle. The car also features some very small level windows in the rear pillars. And that's not all. The dashboard also has some very beautiful Cartier logos engraved to give it a wonderful finishing touch. This material gave a very special feel to the seats. You'll find a 6.6-liter 8-cylinder engine under the hood with some questionable amounts of horsepower. Even with 427 Newton meters of torque, the Continental couldn't accelerate to 60 miles per hour in no less than 15 seconds. 3. 1975 Buick Electra 225. By the 1975 model year, the 225 and the model's name no longer corresponded to the length of the Electra. The body had stretched to 233 inches or 5 meters and 93 centimeters. Buick claimed that the electric 225 was for those who wanted a luxurious car without being ostentatious. It's quite strange to not appear pretentious behind the wheel of a nearly 6-meter-long ship of the car cruise control central, locking automatic climate control cassette player power windows, a sunroof. All these and many other options were seen as standard. On the 6 meters long Buick Electra, however, the 7.5-liter 8-cylinder engine, as huge as the car itself, produced only 205 horsepower, resulting in a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of around 13 seconds. 2. 1973 Chrysler Imperial Libera. Allow us to introduce you to the largest passenger car in the history of post-war American automobile manufacturing. Here we have the 2-door and 4-door versions of the LeBaron that are almost similar in most aspects. It also boasts a 7.2-liter V8 engine that produces somewhere around 208 or 215 horsepower. It can top a speed of 0 to 60 miles per hour time was 14 seconds. But then again, there were some downsides to it too. The car consistently required fuel consumption of around 10 mpg. Being one of the most spacious cars isn't the only thing the Chrysler Imperial LeBaron was known for, it was also extremely comfortable. Back in the 70s, it was arguably one of the most comfortable cars to exist. The Rolls-Royce Phantom would be a good example of a car that can be related to its size and comfort. In the 1970s today, there is only one car. Imperial Libera is impressive, but the best is yet to come. Stay tuned for number 1. 1. Cadillac Eldorado, 1971. As the flagship of Cadillac's lineup, the 1971 Eldorado, in its 9th generation, was the ultimate expression of this grandeur. This massive 2-door luxury vehicle boasted top-tier features and opulent comforts, making it a standout in its class. Under the hood, a formidable 500 cubic inch V8 engine powered the Eldorado with 345 horsepower and an astonishing 500 pound-feet of torque. The Eldorado wasn't just about luxury, it had the muscle to match, making it a supreme icon of automotive excellence. And there you have it. Which of these would you take for a ride? Let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for interesting content. Catch you all with another exciting video. Until then, bye. Curious about the legendary Motion Vega? Watch this video to discover what set it apart from its rivals and made it truly exceptional.